Hello everybody, it's Dr. Dariano here, and today we will be talking about how to make an unraidable base and how to rate it. That seemed controversial, right? It is. But theoretically, you can make an unraidable base. But, of course, in Minecraft, no base is unraidable. There will always be a person trying to raid your base and will find a way to raid that base. So with that being said, how do people find your base? Well, number one, you could be stupid and not hide your base enough, and they just find it by wandering around or mining into your base randomly. But what most people use is the debug pie. Or well, by most people, not a lot of people, but a lot of smart people use the debug pie. And I'll get into that in just a second. Another way they can find your base is through X-raying, like texture packs and stuff like that, and glitches. Another way is hacking, which there is no way you can stop a hacker from finding your base, and hackers are bad. First, before we get into making an unraidable base, we need to talk about the debug pie. The debug pie is found in the F3 screen menu of Java Edition, and you can access it by pressing Shift F3. Now you're probably asking me, what does the debug pie do? Well, it lists all the entities in the chunk, including chests, shulker boxes, mobs like sheep, and zombies. The good thing is that the debug pie can only detect entities in one chunk. But the bad thing is that it can go all the way down to bedrock and all the way to build limit in a 16 by 16 area, which is a chunk. Also, players are also considered entities, so they can be seen in the debug pie. Now that you know a little bit about the debug pie, let's go on into the different methods of making your base theoretically unraidable. Now, before we get onto the methods, please subscribe, hit the bell, and like the video, because it really means a lot to me, and these videos take a long time. Now let's get on to the methods. The first method is called the shulker box method, and the method here is to gather a bunch of shulker boxes, go up to build limit, and surround your claim chest or your base with shulker boxes at build limit. And the reason why you do this is because shulker boxes are considered entities, and they can be seen only from a certain distance. So if you put them at build limit, people won't be able to see them all the way up at build limit because most people have their render distance settings lowered. Now, the only way they can see these shulker boxes is by upping their render distance a bunch, which most people don't have a very powerful computer, so they won't do that, or fly with an elytra all the way up towards build limit, and they will be able to see the shulker boxes. Now, you could still see the shulker boxes on the debug pie, but you can't see them visually. They're just on a pie graph. So they know that the shulker boxes are in the same chunk, but they don't know where they are. The second method is called the bedrock method, and it basically means to surround your claim chest or your base mostly with bedrock at the bottom or top of the world, depending on which dimension you're in. And what I mean by that is, for example, if we surround a claim chest with bedrock, fully encased, no one can destroy it or get to it. Not even you can get to it. But with a base, it's a lot trickier because you can't just surround a base in bedrock in survival Minecraft. So you have to surround it mostly so that it's mostly protected. This one is a lot harder to achieve. Still possible, but it's a lot harder to achieve than the shulker box method, because it's very hard to find a bedrock box that's fully encased so that you can put a claim chest in it, or mostly encased so you can put a base in it. The bad thing about this method is that X-ray users can find the chest or your base encased in bedrock, and that is the bad thing about this method. The third method is called the dimension method, and it basically means to use the above methods but in a different dimension. So it's harder for people to find your base because they're going to be mostly looking in the overworld for early game bases. For example, you could go to the end and use the shulker box method all the way up at build limit or in the void right outside the area where you die from the void, so that it's harder for people to see your base because a lot of people early game are not going to be in the end. Now I'm going to upload the second part of this video and tell you how to raid these bases. So for the first method, what you have to do is go into the debug pie and look for a shulker or chest. And then if you believe it's at build limit, use the elytra and fireworks to go all the way to build limit, and you'll be able to see the shulkers where you could destroy their base, raid it, and whatnot. Now to raid a base that used the second method, you also have to use the debug pie to look for a chest or shulkers or whatever entities like cows and stuff like that that aren't on the surface, because cows don't spawn underground or in the nether. Now once you have located roughly where their base is, where their claim chest is, or where their base is, you need to break the bedrock. And there's a lot of ways you could do this and a lot of videos on how to break bedrock that you can look up. But all you have to do is break the bedrock, destroy the claim chest or raid their base or whatever, and you have raided their base. Now to raid a base or destroy a claim chest that used the third method, all you have to do is just look in different dimensions using the ways I just said on how to raid a base for the other two. Now I'm going to tell you guys a bonus method and also the fourth method on how to hide your base from X-rayers. So when people X-ray all blocks except player placed blocks like chests, cobblestone, torches, and other stuff like that. Also, water and lava are always visible so that they don't drown or die in lava when digging down, and that is your key. And what I mean by this is that water is transparent. So if you make a base covered in water, it's going to be visible. But if you make a base surrounded by lava underground, they cannot see through the lava, therefore they cannot see your base during X-ray. And now to raid this base, you just have to use the debug pie in the chunk where the base is, dig down where lava is, put a fire resistance potion on you, dig into the base, and you got your prize. Now theoretically you can make an unraidable base, but someone somewhere in the world will find your base and raid it somehow using some way, because there is no way to make an truly unraidable base. And there is no way to hide from the debug pie. The debug pie will always find chests, ender chests, players, entities, all of that, no matter how well you hide it. So with that being said, you cannot make an unraidable base because someone will find it with enough hard work and dedication. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell if you liked this video. And take care now. Bye.